नारेणावरेण प्रोक्त एष सुविज्ञेयो बहुधा चिन्त्यमानः अनन्यप्रोक्ते गतिरत्र नास्त्यया हकल्क्यवरु प्रमाणात्.
हरिः ओम् श्रीगुरुभ्यो नमः. गणानाम् त्वा गणपतिम् हवामहे कविम् कवीनामुपवश्रवत्तमम् ज्येष्ठराजम् ब्रह्मणाम् ब्रह्मणस्पतः नः शृण्वन्नोतिभिस्सीदसादनम्. ॐ श्रीमहागणपतये नमः. गुरुब्रह्मा गुरुर्विष्णु गुरुदेवो महेश्वरः गुरुसाक्षात् परम् ब्रह्म तस्मै श्रीगुरवे नमः. सहना भवतु सहनौ भुनक्तु सह वीर्यम् करवावहै तेजस्विनावतीतमस्तु मा विद्विषावकैः. ॐ शान्ति शान्ति शान्तिः. हरिः ओम्. Namaskaram, pranams to all the listeners of this series of episodes on Katopanishad. Last episode we had covered Adhyayam number 1 of Katopanishad, Valli number 2 and 8th mantra in a portion. Partly we have covered. The rest of the portion we will cover during this episode. Now let me repeat the mantra for the benefit of again recalling the subject of it. So the mantra number 8 comes like this. Na narena varena prokta esha sivijnyoho bahuta chintyamanah ananya prokte gadiratra nasti aninyanyadadyam anupramanat. So, last episode we have seen a guru should be a very competent guru because there are varied chintana, varied summaries, various narrations about Atma, Atma Vidya. And a guru should be a person who was well known. Perhaps he should have been a mumukshu also. And we have insisted that he should be minimum a Shrotriya. And now let us continue from that point of this thing. Shrotriya we have already seen, we have discussed. Anyway, so he must have had an Adhyayana from a guru of a good lineage. This guru must be a good Adhyapaka too. He must never slip down from the committed assignments that are prescribed with Vedas. He must set an example to the disciple by the very living of his own style. He must be a guide, a great philosopher and a mumukshu too. Here we do not describe Atman having such inconsistent shape, form, character or behavior, but the Atman or the Brahman can never be preached upon by words. It's only experientiable, not teachable, not preachable. But Atman is beyond all description. When the one not having a clear description on Atman is devoid of a proper definitive expression, how can one describe Atman that one behind? To preach the Atma Tattva, one must have attained Atma Anubhuti. Anubhuti means the experience. This mantram condemns the hypocritic practitioner of the Vedanta. Nowadays we find that only. People learn a bit and they start teaching people. The great Tattva can not be preached upon by the one who is only a Prakrita Buddhina. The one who has all experiential entanglement only and transactional entanglement, activities and the likes. Ananya prokte gatirattanasti. This vakya refers to the incompetent guru handling the Atma Tattva in an entirely different perspective. This will result the student in utter confusion. This is referred to as agati. The gati is the end, proper end, reach. It is not a blind point. There is a definitive point. But agati is a blind point. You do not know what is this. The end is not known. Atma is swaya anubodhitvam, can be reached only by swaya prayatana. Tattvam asi is the point of reach by a guru, and he would leave the disciple to get himself understood as aham brahmasmi. It is only for the purpose of a say. In reality, a right guru would never leave the disciple at the point of time tattvamasi. He will take you up to aham brahmasmi, and he would certainly strive until last bit of the exercise, subject well understood and he reaches the point of Aham Brahmasmi, the one realizing that the own self is the very Atman. Ananya is the one not in any way deviating or differentiating from. Anya means the one that is quite different. The Pada Ananya here requires that the preacher must basically be a practitioner or a professor or a professing person. This is comprehensively brought in a pada called Stotriya. If this subject is taught by a Stotriya, one will be ending in a prapti of a right end or right gati. A competent guru preaches his disciple, Tatvamasi, thou art thee, ni atmavagave irkindrai. If this is well comprehended, the disciple makes all-out efforts to contemplate upon this preaching when this comes from a competent mumukshu guru. He then becomes Aham Brahmasmi, Nan Brahmamave irkindren. The realization becomes not an happening, but a result of protracted contemplation. Whatever has been superimposed by the Adhyayam, all this gets annulled. Aniyan hi adadhyam anupramanatu is our vakya. Anu atmavadam by a nyaya tarka vada are also seen contested here. Nyaya tarka vadam ஒன்று இருக்கு, அதையும் contest பண்றாங்க. Atma is not an atom or even the subparticle of an atom. It is subtler than the subtlest. Anupramanatu, what one can imagine, and this cannot be reached by tarkam. Atarkyam are the debated arguments. Tarkataliyo, kutarkataliyo reach பண்ண முடியாதுங்கிறோம். This is beyond tarkyam. One cannot reach this by indriyas, mind and the rational approach. What one can exhibit is their ability to put forth their arguments that will please the listeners, but certainly will not make them understand about the nature, behavior of an entity that does not govern any status as cognizable object. It will be like a கோர்ட்டில் வாதம் பண்ணுற மாதிரி தான் இருக்க முடியும். அந்த வாதத்தினுடைய முடிவு கரெக்டாக இருக்காது. Judge himself will be confused. Mundaka Upanishad states, Shrotriham Brahmanishtam Gurmevapi Gachet. The preaching of Vedanta must be through a proper guru who has sound Guru Parampara and must be Shrotriya. The one who is well learned, a mumukshu, and the one who does not boast himself of a Vedantic scholar. They must always be tied up to the Brahmanishtai, ever in the Chintana of Brahman, ever contemplative of Atman and the Great Self. Conclusion, let us see how can we conclude this, because two parts. The first part we have seen, second part also we are now trying to conclude. In Vedanta, the Upadesham of Guru takes Vak Swarupa. So, because through speech only he gives the Upadesham. And it is said to be a Stula Swarupa. When the Vak comes out of the mouth, it is Stula. This must be transcribed by the Shishya in the Sukshma form. The Shishya should take it in the subtle form to convert this into Jnana, because Jnana is a subtle form. And he must keep it registered in his mind as recollectable at any point of time. He should be in a position to recollect at any time. It is not that he stores it, just keeps it like that in the storage. He must not only be able to imbibe it, but be able to preach when occasion turns him again into a status of an Acharya. So that it is Durlabha Jnana, this carried on for over generations through Shruti. Because Shruti alone, those days, there was no writing, there was no paper, there was no pencil, there was no pen. Only from the Guru to Shishya, through the listening, through the ears, it is Shruti. So through the Shruti only, the Parambaryam was carried on. In the modern transmission system, the audio frequency is converted into electromagnetic frequency and carried by a modulator wave to the next station through the ether. In the next station, the demodulator works and converts truly into original audio form. Thus, there must be no distortions. Similarly, the right Shishya must imbibe all these informations from the right Guru and reproduced undistortedly. There should not be any distortions when he is carrying over to the next generation. So that's what I try to say by modulation, demodulation. In radio station, we modulate the wave, the audio wave, and the radio wave carries it through a modulator called this thing that is in the modulated waveform. and it is floated with the ether, and it goes to the next station and picked up by the remodulator that is called the radio, and we get it back as an audio. True representation, true presentation of what has been transferred from the transmission station. Like that, a transmitter should properly receive it and redeliver it. That is the duty of the great Shishya. Thank you so much for listening in 2 episodes. Thank you forever. Om Sakana Bhavatu Sakanau Bhunaktu Sakabhityan Karavavahain Tejasvinavati Samattuma Vidvishavakain Om Shanti